If you do these two things when you leave a job, you're going to regret it. First thing, if you do it when you leave a job, you're going to regret it, is tell your employer, tell them in advance more than the minimum notice period. So for the example, in the US culturally, we give our employer 2 weeks notice before we leave a job. In some other countries, maybe like Vietnam, I lived there before, it was more culturally normal to give your employer 30 days notice. I think it might be something similar in Europe. But the reason you want to keep your notice to the minimum period is because if you tell your employer, I think that in 2 months, I'm going to leave this job. In 3 months, I'm going to leave this job. After I get my bonus, I'm going to leave this job. This is not something you want to do because you think that you're doing your employer a favor, and you're increasing the goodwill between you and your employer, and that might help you maybe come back on good terms, or maybe you just had a good working relationship with them. So you just think it's the right thing to do. You're just trying to be a good person. I respect that, but that's not the way we want to go about things, because let me give you some real life examples, things that I've seen. First I'll give you something I've seen, and second I'll give you something that I've heard secondhand. So something that I've seen recently at my company was, we had a guy, and I wasn't close to him, so I don't know intimately all the details, but essentially he was having trouble working remotely, and maybe he just felt like he wasn't connecting with the colleagues, or maybe he was just dealing with mental burnout. I'm not sure exactly what was going on with him, but he said, sorry, but I think that I'm probably going to leave the company within the next few months. That's what I felt when I was being told this secondhand about what he said. And sure enough, this guy was fired or let go, whatever you want to call it, maybe a week or two after he told some of the higher ups at the company this. So what is the lesson here? Ultimately, the relationship between you and your employer is a business relationship. And even though that I think he had good intentions, and if you were thinking something similar, you might have good intentions, we don't want to do this, because while from our perspective as the worker, trying to be respectful, trying to build goodwill, it doesn't work, because the way that the employer interprets it is, this guy has 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Maybe he's not going to give his best work. Maybe he's not, even if he wanted to give his best work, maybe he's not capable of that because of the mental strain he's under, or whatever other life pressures he might have. So the end result is, this is something that's very dangerous. Apart from my personal experience seeing this guy, this my old colleague, lose his job, I've also heard of people who were like close with upper management or close with their buddies, and they say, once I get this bonus, I'm going to retire, or something along these lines. We also don't want to do this, because even if you've been working at a company for 25 years and you've got a big bonus coming up, the employee-employer relationship, the unwritten rules, so to speak, are not like they were with our parents growing up. It's not like it was 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago, where pensions are still real, and that employee-employer bond was still strong. I don't think that good things are likely to come of that. So I think you should probably be tight-lipped. Don't give more than the minimum notice. But anyway, ranting now. Finally, let's go to the second thing. The other thing that you don't want to do when you leave a company is leave a company without having your next plan. And what I mean by that is, you either have the stable employment lined up, you're going to grad school, you have a startup that's gaining momentum and now you want to go full in on it. I've seen a lot of people, they just get pissed off in their job and they quit, or they're just burnt out, they're stressed, they feel disrespected and they leave a job. Now, if there's like some extreme toxicity and it's just destroying your mental health, absolutely, and it's like, I need to quit this job or I'm gonna die, then yeah, I get it. But if it's just like mild to moderate stress, you're like, I'm not really enjoying my life right now, but I don't know what to do next. My recommendation for you, not as like mental health psychologist or something, but just like as a friend talking to a friend, what I recommend to my friend is have the next step planned before you leave a job. Don't have things be ambiguous where you're like, well, I think that when I leave this job, I'm just going to take some time to gather my thoughts and then I'll apply for new jobs or I'll do something else. It's kind of hypocritical that I say this because every time that I've left a job, I've pretty much done this. And it can work out, but a lot of times, while it can, a lot of times it also doesn't. So, for example, last year, I left my job. I was working in Vietnam, working for a German company in Vietnam, and I just was not really enjoying my life anymore. And at that point, I think I had 4.5, almost 5 years of experience. So I said, listen, I'm done. I had enough. I love this city, but I'm tired of working for $1,500 a month or whatever I was making at the time. So I left that job, and then I just thought, well, the previous times I left my job, I got a job quickly, so surely I'll just do the same. I might be unemployed for a month or two, but then I'll just get another job, no problem. You know, what actually happened then was I finding a job turned out to be way harder than I expected. I tried to build a startup. I couldn't find a job. My startup didn't go anywhere. And so then there was a period of about 5 months where I had no income whatsoever. And I had to live quite cheaply, including a month in what essentially was a shack in Malaysia. Like my doorknob on the door to the balcony was like ring ting 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 ting. Like I'm pretty sure if somebody would have elbowed that doorknob, it would have fell on the ground. So even when I was doing interviews, they're like, your connection doesn't appear to be so stable. And I said, well, there's a reason for that. I didn't say that, but I was thinking that. Coming back to the central point, you need to have a plan when you leave a job, and it should be a concrete plan, and it should be validated by external parties. So if you leave a job, it shouldn't be something very vague like, oh, well, I'm just going to look for other opportunities. No, find those better opportunities before you leave your job. In general, this is the way to do things. Of course, there's exceptions, but use the motivation from not liking your job to push you to build that startup, to push you to send endless applications every day, to push you to grind lead code, whatever the case may be. Use that to push yourself to get better and to open yourself up to those other opportunities. Not just because this is a more risk-averse way of doing things, but also because if you go 5 months, a year, 2 years after you quit your job and you can't find anything and your startup doesn't take off, then you effectively lost 2 years of career growth, or at least resume building, 2 years of resume building. And if even if you build a startup and you can put something on your resume, you lost 2 years of potential money to invest. So these are not really desirable outcomes. So anyway, I'm ranting because I'm still not on the whole YouTube thing. I haven't made these videos consistently for many years, so I still don't know how to be concise and straight to the point. But anyway, the two things that I recommend when you leave a job: number one, don't give more than the minimum notice period. Number two, have a concrete plan and validate your concrete plan with other smart individuals, whether that's lining up another job before, and you really should line up the other job before you leave your current job, because when you're employed, you're a more attractive candidate. Big brain things. Or two, your startup has gained momentum. You're making a decent amount of money from that, and now you're just trying to scale that. So I hope this video was useful. Maybe you at least got a laugh, and I'll make some more videos for you soon.